Before we begin, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because today's story is not just about a coin, it's about hidden value, forgotten history, and the kind of discovery that keeps collectors awake at night. Imagine reaching into an old drawer, a dusty coin jar, or a jacket pocket you haven't worn in years, and pulling out a simple-looking coin. It's solid. It's heavy. It says South Africa. It says 2 Rand. And the date reads 1997. Most people would glance at it and think, just pocket change. But for serious collectors, especially men who understand value, history, and legacy, this coin represents something far greater. The 2 Rand coin from 1997 comes from South Africa, a nation rich in minerals, gold, and powerful history. This was a time of transformation in the country. Just a few years after the end of apartheid, the country was reshaping its identity. Its currency reflected stability, resilience, and national pride. Coins minted during this period carry more than metal. They carry a story. The 1997 2 Rand coin was struck with a bimetallic design. That means it contains 2 different metals fused together. The outer ring and inner core contrast beautifully, giving the coin a distinctive, authoritative appearance. It feels substantial in the hand, not light, not flimsy. When you hold it, you feel weight. And men between 55 and 65 understand weight. Weight means substance. It means durability. It means something built to last. On one side, you'll find the national coat of arms used during that era. It represents strength and unity. On the reverse side, you see the value, 2 Rand, along with the year 1997. Clean lines. Clear design. No unnecessary decoration. Just strength and purpose. Now, here's where things become interesting. Not all 1997 2 Rand coins are equal. Many were produced for circulation. Millions, in fact. But among those millions, certain pieces stand apart. Coins struck with minting errors. Coins preserved in near-perfect condition. Coins never circulated. Coins kept in collections for decades. These are the ones that collectors search for. Condition is everything in the world of numismatics. A circulated coin with scratches, fading, and where might only hold its face value or slightly above. But a coin that has never touched the roughness of everyday exchange, a coin with sharp edges, brilliant luster, and flawless surfaces, can command serious attention. And then there are the rare error coins. During minting, mistakes sometimes occur. Off-center strikes. Double impressions. Misaligned cores in bimetallic coins. These errors are not defects in the eyes of collectors. They are treasures. They are one-of-a-kind variations that turn ordinary coins into highly desirable pieces. Collectors, especially seasoned men who have built careers, families, and legacies, understand the power of rarity. They know that scarcity drives value. When supply is limited and demand increases, prices rise. It's basic economics. But in coin collecting, it's also passion. The late 1990s were an important time for South Africa. International attention was high. Political change was fresh. Investors were watching. And currency from that period became symbolic of a new chapter in history. That symbolism adds emotional value, and emotional value often fuels financial value. Many collectors in their 50s and 60s today remember 1997 clearly. They remember the global atmosphere. They remember headlines. They remember conversations about emerging markets. When they hold a 1997 2 Rand coin, they're not just holding metal. They're holding a moment in time. Now let's talk about metal composition. Bimetal coins are more complex to manufacture than single metal coins. The bonding process must be precise. If the center core is not aligned perfectly within the outer ring, the coin can become a rare variation. These variations are extremely sought after because they represent a deviation from standard production. Over the years, interest in African coins has grown significantly. For decades, collectors focused mainly on European and American coins. But serious investors began looking elsewhere, searching for undervalued markets. African coinage, particularly from politically significant years, began attracting attention. Men who understand investment principles recognize patterns. First comes neglect. Then comes awareness. Then comes demand. And finally comes price movement. The 1997 2 Rand coin has followed that pattern quietly. For years, it circulated unnoticed. Then collectors began identifying pristine examples. Then error varieties started appearing in auctions. Then international buyers started bidding, and when international buyers enter the market, prices can move dramatically. But here is the key. Condition separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. A worn coin found in everyday change may not excite anyone. But a coin graded in mint state condition, preserved carefully, authenticated, verified, becomes a different story. It becomes an asset. Men between 55 and 65 appreciate tangible assets. They grew up in a time when value meant something you could hold. Gold, silver, land, and yes, coins. A coin like the 1997 2 Rand fits that mindset perfectly. It's physical. It's historical. It's measurable. There's also psychology involved. When collectors discover that a common-looking coin might carry serious value, curiosity spreads. People check their drawers. They search old collections. They talk to friends. Demand rises simply because awareness increases. And remember, not everyone stored their coins properly. Many were scratched, bent, or worn down through years of use. That reduces the supply of high-quality examples even further, rarity within circulation. That's where the opportunity lies. Some examples of the 1997 2 Rand coin have appeared in exceptional condition, preserved since the year they were minted. Some have shown unusual striking characteristics. And some have achieved attention far beyond their original face value. Imagine holding a coin that once bought a small everyday item, now commanding thousands because of its condition and scarcity. That transformation is what makes coin collecting powerful. It's not just accumulation. It's recognition. It's understanding what others overlooked. That if you are watching this and you are between 55 and 65, you understand patience. You understand long-term thinking. You understand that value is often hidden in plain sight. The 1997 2 Rand coin is a reminder of that truth. Check the edges. Examine the alignment. Look at the luster. Compare the strike quality. Is the center perfectly aligned? Are there doubling marks? Is the surface free from scratches? These details matter because sometimes the difference between an ordinary coin and an extraordinary one is nearly invisible to the untrained eye, and here is the part everyone waits for. While many 1997 2 Rand coins still carry modest collector value depending on condition, certain rare, high-grade, or error examples have reached astonishing figures in private sales and collector markets. In exceptional circumstances, with the right grading, rarity, and demand alignment, the value of a 1997 2 Rand coin has been known to reach as high as $18,000. Before we begin, take 1 second to subscribe to this channel, because the stories we uncover here are not just about coins, they're about history, power, and the hidden value sitting right under our noses. Picture this for a moment. You're holding a coin that feels ordinary in the palm of your hand. It's solid, cool, familiar. You've seen coins like this all your life. You've paid for coffee with them, dropped them into jars, maybe even ignored them completely. But this one is different. This one carries a story that most people will never hear, and a value most will never believe. Today, we are talking about the South African 2 Rand coin dated 2003, a coin that quietly bridges generations, power, and legacy. For men who grew up respecting craftsmanship, weight, and meaning, coins like this speak a special language. This isn't about flashy trends or digital hype. This is about something you can hold, something that lasts. The 2 Rand coin comes from a country with deep mineral wealth and a complex, resilient history. South Africa is a land built on gold, strength, struggle, and survival, and its coinage reflects that identity in a very real way. The year 2003 matters more than most people realize. It was a time when the modern world was accelerating, when traditional systems were being pushed aside for convenience. Yet, this coin stood firm as a symbol of continuity. Minted with precision, balance, and authority, it represents more than money. It represents trust. Trust in a nation, trust in metal, Trust in value you don't need a screen to see. Older collectors understand something younger generations often overlook. Real value doesn't shout. It whispers. The 2 Rand 2003 coin doesn't scream for attention. There's no glitter, no gimmicks. Instead, there's weight, detail, and intent. The imagery speaks of national pride. The metal speaks of endurance. And the date marks a moment in time that cannot be repeated. Now here's where things get interesting. Not every coin from a mint is created equal. Small variations, limited releases, special strikes, or coins preserved in exceptional condition can separate a common piece from a legendary one. Many coins pass through countless hands, scratched, worn, and forgotten. But a few escape that fate. They remain untouched, protected, almost as if they were waiting for the right moment to reveal their importance. For men in their 50s, 60s, and beyond, this idea resonates deeply. You've seen markets rise and fall. You've seen promises made and broken. You know that real assets stand the test of time. Coins like the 2 Rand 2003 remind us that value is not always obvious at first glance. Sometimes it takes years, even decades, for the world to catch up. Collectors talk about coins like this in quiet conversations. They don't brag. They don't rush. They know that patience is part of the game. The right coin, in the right condition, with the right story, becomes more than a collectible. It becomes a statement, a store of value, a legacy piece that can be passed down, not just sold off. But there's also something deeply personal about owning a coin like this. It connects you to history in a way numbers on a bank statement never could. You're holding the same design, the same metal, the same mark that once moved through the hands of others, each with their own lives, struggles, and victories. That connection matters, especially to those who appreciate where they've come from and what they've built. The 2 Rand coin of 2003 stands at a crossroads between old-world solidity and modern rarity. As time moves forward, fewer pristine examples remain. Loss, damage, and neglect quietly reduce the number of coins that truly matter to serious collectors. And when supply shrinks while interest grows, value has a way of surprising everyone. This is why seasoned collectors pay attention. They look beyond face value. They look beyond what the average person sees. They understand that some coins are sleepers, waiting silently while the world chases noise. When those sleepers wake up, the results can be staggering. That if you own coins, especially from significant years and strong nations, it's worth taking a second look. Not with greed, but with curiosity and respect. The greatest discoveries are often made by people who take the time to ask questions and preserve what others ignore. Before we begin, take a second to subscribe to the channel and stay with us until the end, because the final reveal about this coin's value may surprise even seasoned collectors. Imagine holding a piece of metal that has traveled through time, survived political change, economic shifts, and the quiet passing of generations. In your hand, it feels solid, confident, and purposeful. This is not just a coin. It is a witness. Today, we are talking about the South African 2 Rand coin dated 2000, accompanied by its old certificate of authenticity, a piece that quietly commands respect among serious collectors and investors. At first glance, the 2 Rand may seem modest. It does not shout. It does not glitter excessively. Instead, it carries authority in its simplicity. This is a coin that was never meant for the careless spender. It was created during a moment when South Africa stood firmly at the edge of a new era, still carrying the weight of its past while stepping into the future. The year 2000 itself holds meaning. It represents transition, reflection, and anticipation, a symbolic threshold that adds emotional gravity to this coin. For many men who appreciate history, craftsmanship, and legacy, this coin speaks directly to the soul. It reminds you of a time when money was tangible, when value could be felt in weight and texture, not just numbers on a screen. The 2 Rand coin from this period represents national identity, strength, and continuity. South African coinage has always carried a certain dignity, and this piece is no exception. What makes this coin especially compelling is the old certificate of authenticity. This is not a modern reprint or a digital document. This is the original form of verification, issued at a time when trust was built on paper, ink, and official seals. For collectors aged 55 to 65 and beyond, This detail matters deeply. It confirms provenance. It confirms legitimacy. It tells you that this coin has been respected and protected from the very beginning. Coins like this were often set aside by individuals who understood long-term value. They were not impulse purchases. They were deliberate acquisitions, sometimes passed down through families, sometimes stored away in safes, waiting for the right moment to be rediscovered. When a coin survives in excellent condition with its original documentation, it becomes far more than metal. It becomes an artifact. The 2 Rand coin carries symbolic imagery that reflects South Africa's resilience and pride. The design elements are not accidental. Every line, every curve, every detail was chosen to communicate authority and permanence. When you look closely, you can see the craftsmanship of an era when minting was treated as an art, not a mass production task. This level of detail is increasingly rare, and collectors know it. For men who have lived through decades of change, this coin resonates differently. It reminds you of stability in uncertain times. It represents something real, something earned, something that does not disappear with a power outage or a market glitch. Holding this coin can feel grounding, almost reassuring, as if it confirms that true value still exists. Another powerful aspect of this coin is its scarcity in complete, verified form. While individual 2 Rand coins may appear occasionally, finding one from the year 2000 with the old certificate of authenticity intact is a completely different story. Many certificates were lost, damaged, or separated over time. When the coin and its documentation remain together, the value multiplies, not just financially, but historically. Collectors at this level are not casual hobbyists. They are thinkers, planners, and guardians of heritage. They understand that rarity is not only about low numbers, but about survival. How many coins were minted, how many were preserved, and how many remain untouched today are questions that define true worth. This particular combination answers those questions powerfully. There is also an emotional investment tied to this coin. For South Africans, it represents national memory. For international collectors, it represents global history and the story of a nation navigating transformation. Coins like this often become conversation pieces, centerpieces of collections, and legacy items meant to be passed on rather than sold quickly. As markets rise and fall, tangible assets like rare coins continue to hold their ground. Experienced men understand this instinctively. Gold, silver, and historically significant coinage have always been a refuge during uncertain times. The 2 Rand 2000 coin fits squarely into this category. It is not trendy. It is not speculative hype. It is solid, documented, and respected. Over the years, interest in South African coins has grown steadily, especially among collectors who appreciate underrepresented markets with strong historical narratives. Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss stories like this, because what I'm about to show you isn't just a coin. It's a piece of history that could completely change the way you think about collecting. Now, imagine holding something in your hands that seems ordinary at first glance. A coin that you might find tucked away in an old drawer, forgotten in a dusty collection, or even slipped into a wallet years ago. But the moment you look closer, you realize this isn't just any coin. This is the 2005 2 Rand from South Africa, and what it represents goes far beyond its metal or its face value. At first glance, the 2 Rand coin might appear simple, small, round, familiar. The obverse features the familiar profile of the nation's heritage, the iconic design that tells a story of pride and resilience. On the reverse, the intricate patterns and subtle engravings capture attention if you know what to look for. Every line, every curve, is a nod to craftsmanship and a reminder that coins are not just currency. They are time capsules of culture, art, and history. For collectors, history enthusiasts, and men like you who appreciate both legacy and value, coins like this are far more than metal discs. They are memories, frozen in time. They are tangible connections to moments in history, to the people who designed them, and to the society that used them. And let me tell you, the 2005 2 Rand is one of those rare coins that carries a story few realize until they hold it themselves. You might ask, what makes this coin so special? There are many 2 Rand coins from different years, but the 2005 edition has a combination of rarity, craftsmanship, and historical context that sets it apart. It was minted in limited quantities, making it scarce, but not in a way that's obvious at first glance. To the untrained eye, It might look like any coin in your pocket change. But for collectors, scarcity is everything. And scarcity combined with demand can lead to surprising outcomes. Think of it like this. Over time, certain coins gain a following. People begin to notice the subtle differences, the slight variations that make a coin unique. In the case of the 2005 2 Rand, experts have noted a few features that make it stand out. A minting error here, a rare finish there. These details, invisible to most, are what turn a standard coin into a sought-after treasure. And this is where the story gets even more interesting. Many of these coins were never intended to be rare. They were meant to circulate. They were meant to be used by everyday people for everyday purchases. But life has a way of preserving what is special, sometimes in the most unexpected places. Coins get lost in collections, saved for sentimental reasons, or passed down through generations. And occasionally, a coin that seemed ordinary decades ago suddenly becomes extraordinary. Collectors and investors have been hunting for examples of this coin for years. The allure isn't just about having something rare. It's about owning a piece of history, a conversation starter, a treasure that connects you to both the past and the future. Imagine showing this coin to your friends, your family, or fellow enthusiasts. The reaction is always the same: curiosity, amazement, and a hint of envy. Because when you hold a coin like this, you're not just holding metal, you're holding a story, a legacy, and a potential fortune. Now, let's talk about value, because I know that's on your mind. It's one thing to admire a coin, but it's another to understand the numbers behind it. And this is where most people get surprised. This isn't about your typical collector's coin that sits on a shelf. This coin has skyrocketed in demand over the years, and experts have noted its unique place in the world of numismatics. The combination of rarity, condition, and historical significance creates a scenario where a coin, once worth only a few rand, can now reach staggering prices for the right buyer. Picture this. Decades from now, someone discovers a coin like yours in perfect condition. Perhaps it's tucked away in an old box, or maybe it's been carefully preserved by a collector. When that moment comes, the world takes notice. And collectors, and we are talking serious collectors, are willing to pay amounts that most people would consider unimaginable. I know you might be thinking, could this really be that valuable? The truth is, yes, it can be. And the story behind it makes it even more compelling. Each coin is unique, each has a history, and the thrill of discovering one is like uncovering a hidden treasure. For men in our age group, who have seen the world change countless times, there's something incredibly satisfying about recognizing value where others see none. There's pride in knowing that you were the one who spotted it, the one who understood its true worth before the world did. Collectors aren't just looking for coins, they're looking for stories, for connections, for that feeling of holding something irreplaceable. And that's why the 2005 2 Rand stands out. It's not flashy, it's not ostentatious, but it's real. It's a symbol of South African heritage, of precision craftsmanship, and of a moment frozen in time that is now almost mythical in the collector community. So if you're someone who loves history, appreciates detail, or has a keen eye for rare treasures, this coin is a perfect example of why collecting is more than a hobby, it's a journey. A journey where patience, knowledge, and a bit of luck can converge in the most unexpected ways. And the best part? Even if you already have this coin, learning about its story adds a layer of enjoyment and pride that money can't quantify. Now, here's the moment you've been waiting for. After all the history, all the intrigue, all the stories about rarity and craftsmanship, here's the kicker. The value of the 2005 2 Rand from South Africa can reach as high as $4.4 million under the right conditions. Yes, you heard that correctly. A coin that once might have seemed ordinary could now be a life-changing piece of history. It's rare, it's coveted, and for the right collector, it's priceless. So next time you come across a coin, take a closer look. Because the next hidden treasure might be lying in your own collection, quietly waiting for someone who knows what to look for. And who knows? It might just be worth millions.
Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe. If you're someone who enjoys history, rare finds, or you've got a few old coins tucked away in a drawer, this channel is exactly where you want to be. Hit that subscribe button now and stay with me, because what you're about to hear might just change the way you look at something as simple as a 2 Rand coin. Let's talk about the coin that many people walk past every day without thinking twice. A coin that most see as ordinary. But hidden behind its familiar face is something far more intriguing. The South African R2 from the year 2007 isn't just pocket change, it could be a collector's dream. But only if you know what to look for. Back in 2007, South Africa was going through a time of change. The nation was strong, proud, and building a new legacy. The mint continued its work quietly, producing coins that would serve the public, just like any other year. But sometimes, in the process of creating the ordinary, something unexpected happens. Something rare. The 2007 R2 coin features the greater kudu on one side, a powerful antelope known for its graceful horns and proud stance. It's a beautiful animal, and it's been on South African coins for many years. The other side of the coin carries the updated coat of arms introduced in 2000. That detail alone marks a shift in the country's coin design history. Around it, the name of the country is written in one of the country's 11 official languages. For this version, you'll see Afrika Dzonga. Now, let's talk about numbers. Around 32.5 million of these coins were minted. That might sound like a lot. And in normal circumstances, it would be. But here's the thing, most of those coins have long since disappeared from view. They've been worn down in circulation, damaged, lost, or simply spent into obscurity. The average one today isn't worth more than the number stamped on its face, R2. But not all of them are average. In the world of coin collecting, condition is everything. There are coins, and then there are coins that have never been touched, never been passed from hand to hand, never seen the inside of a pocket or a purse. These are called mint state coins, uncirculated, untouched, and pristine. They're the ones that serious collectors hunt for, often stored away the day they were minted, kept safe for years. Some of the 2007 R2 coins exist in that kind of condition. And those coins, they're not just currency anymore. They're investments. And now, you may be wondering, what makes one R2 coin different from another? The answer is in the details. A perfect edge. A flawless strike. No scratches, no dents. A strong shine when held to the light. It might even be a proof version, a coin specially made for collectors, with a mirror-like finish and sharp detail. These aren't found in change. They were never meant to be spent. They were meant to be admired. Let me tell you something that might surprise you. Not long ago, a South African coin collector held on to a near-perfect 2007 R2 coin. At first glance, it didn't look too different from any other. But when graded and evaluated, its condition was beyond exceptional. And once the right buyer came along, someone who knew exactly what it was, the value was no longer R2. Not even R100. The final value was something most people wouldn't believe. Before we get to that number, let's go a bit deeper. When people collect coins, they look for more than beauty. They look for history, rarity, a story. And this coin checks every box. It was struck in a year that didn't have any major coin redesigns or commemorations, so it flew under the radar. There weren't special releases or public announcements. But that's what makes it valuable. No one was watching. No one was saving them. So finding one in perfect shape today, that's like finding a needle in a haystack. You might have one right now, sitting in an old drawer. Or maybe in a box of coins you inherited. Look carefully. Is the detail crisp? Are the horns of the kudu clearly visible? Is the shine still there? If yes, you could be holding more than just a piece of metal. It's not just South African collectors interested in these coins. International buyers, especially those interested in African currency, are paying attention. Auctions in recent years have seen rare examples of common-looking coins fetch surprising prices. The key is rarity plus condition. And sometimes, a little luck. Now let's speak man to man. Maybe you've been collecting for years. Or maybe you've just started paying attention to the coins you've had since your 20s. You've got a few favorites. A few coins you've always kept, thinking they might be worth something someday. And guess what? One of them just might be. The R2 2007 coin is a perfect example of how something small can hide big value. Not because it's gold. Not because it's old. But because it survived untouched, unmarked, in a world where everything gets used and worn out. That kind of preservation is rare. And in collecting, Rarity is the key to value. So here's the moment you've been waiting for. What could a 2007 2 Rand coin actually be worth? Not just any coin. The right coin. A flawless coin. A coin that's been certified, graded, and preserved in top condition. A coin that meets every standard collectors are looking for. Well, for one such coin, the value has been recorded at a stunning $8,960. Yes, you heard that right. A 2 Rand coin. From 2007. Worth $8,960. So take a second look at your collection. Check that old coin jar. Look through the coins you never bothered to sort. Because the next big treasure isn't always gold. Sometimes it's just sitting there, quietly waiting to be noticed. And if you found this video helpful, or even a little bit surprising, don't forget to subscribe for more stories just like this. The world of coins is bigger than you think, and who knows what's hiding in your pocket.